So let's see what this means. Okay, object reference variables act differently than you might expect when an assignment takes place. So you have learned about assignment. What is assignment? When I write, say, just let me, okay, I'm just writing it here. Okay, say I'm writing A equal to B. So what is this statement? This is an assignment statement. So what am I doing here? Can anyone tell me? Hashim will not say. Hashim will not say. Kritika will not say. Just let me pick out a name. Tritishman. Hunyasa? Tritishman Kolita. কি হল? Yes. Okay. Unmute কৰাচোন নিজকে. Okay, anyways, if you are having problem with the mic, you can just write it down in the chat section. What is this statement? What am I doing here using this statement? Okay, your mice, no, it's mic, M-I-C. Okay, anyways. Acha, তুমি কোৱাচোন, A equal to B, it is a statement, yes? So what does this mean? Can you write it down in the chat section? We have come a long way. If you cannot answer this, then it will be very problematic for you to cope up. Okay, Rohit.
Ma'am, we are assigning a value of B in A variable.
Very good. So this is an assignment statement. Okay, and what is the operator used? Equal. Okay, so yes, so this is what we are doing using any ordinary variable. Okay, so A equal to B means we will be assigning the value of B here, okay, that is stored in B, to the left side expression, that is to A. Okay, so this is what we have done so far with assignment statements. But regarding assigning object reference variables, this is somewhat different. So we'll see the difference here. See, we have one object here, box B1 equal to new box. Okay, so as you can see, we have a object B1. So if you since you have understood the how we declare objects, how objects are actually created, so you know that this is not actually an object, this is a variable which is referring to an object. But anyways, we will refer to this as an object from now on. Okay, so this is an object B1. Okay, now what are we doing is, from the next statement, what do you see? Box B2. So we are declaring another object of box class with the name B2, and what we are doing, we are assigning the values of B1. Okay, we are assigning the values of B1 to B2. So if you compare these two statements, they look alike. Yes, they look somewhat alike, because even in here A equal to B means I am assigning the value of B to A. Even in here I am assigning the value of B1 to B2. Yes, but this is not you see, the assignment of B1 to B2 simply makes B2 refer to the same object. So here what it means is, as you all know that B1 is an object, okay, and B2 is also an object. So this does not mean that you are assigning the values of object B1 to B2. Okay, you are not creating a duplicate object. You are assigning here, what were we doing? We were creating a duplicate variable. So if B contains 5, A will also contain 5. So what does this mean? Both will contain duplicate values. Yes, so A contains a copy of B. Here if you see, B1 and B2, here B1 is not the object. I am not copying the object to B2. Okay, so this simply means that since we now know that B1 is not actually an object, but this is a reference variable, and B2 is also an object reference variable. So to whichever object B1 is pointing, okay, so B1 contains an address of that particular object. So what we have done using this statement is we have simply assigned the address that B1 holds to B2 in a way to make B2 point to the same object that B1 is pointing. So here we are not creating distinct copies of objects. Okay, we are not creating separate objects actually. Is that clear? If you can make out from these two statements, box B1 is an object, box B2 is an object, but actually we are not, by copying contents of B1 to B2, we are not actually creating two separate objects here. Okay, and I'm not copying the contents of the object to B2. Instead, what am I doing is, as we all know that B1 and B2, these are not actually objects, but these are reference variables and they will refer to objects. Okay, so what am I copying is, I'm simply copying the address that B1 holds. Okay, the base address of the block assigned to a particular object, that address will be assigned, has been assigned to B2. So B2 will also point to the same object that B1 is pointing. Okay, so if you look down, this is the depiction actually. So B1, initially there was only one variable. Okay, so B1 was made to point to this object. Now since we have created another reference variable and we have assigned the value of B1 to B2, so now whichever address, okay, the first address or the starting address of this block has been now copied to B2. That is why even B2 now, points to this particular object. Okay, so here is a note actually, just go through it. We can assign the value of reference variable to another reference variable. Reference variable is used to store the address of the variable. Okay, assigning reference will not create distinct copies of objects. So we are not creating separate objects here. We have only one object. We have nothing to do with object creation actually. Okay, we have nothing to do with object creation. Okay, we have only one object now that we created already. We are simply creating reference variables and we are making them point to the same object that was created initially. Okay, by assigning the value of the previous reference variable to the later reference variable. That is it. So all reference variables are referring to the same object. Fine. So this is what that statement means. Okay, this is what the statement means. So if you imagine, just like by looking at B1 and B2, do not think B1 and B2 to be two separate objects and they contain the same values. No, B1 and B2 are simply variables which will point to the same object. Is that fine? So this and this are different. Here A and B were two separate variables. Yes, B was a separate variable located somewhere in memory. A is a separate variable located somewhere in memory. But what am I doing using this statement? I'm simply assigning or copying the value of B to A. So if B is 5, A is also 5. But A is a different variable, B is a different variable. Okay, but here we don't have different objects. We are pointing to the same object. We are simply copying the value from this reference variable to the other reference variable, and we have this scenario here. Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So even if I create another variable, say B3, okay, I can do the same thing. So if I write here, I can also do it in this, just let me write one more statement here. Say box B3, okay, equal to, you can now write B1 also, or you can write B2 also, because B2 and B1 are the same now because they are referring to the same object. So if you write this statement now, okay, another variable has been created that will be made to point to the same object that B2 and B1 are pointing. Okay, so if you write this statement on execution, there will be a variable created, okay, B3, and that B3 will be made to point to this object as well. because the contents of B2 has been copied to B3, and B3 also contains the same address as in B2 and B1. Okay, so that is it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Next, we talk about adding a method to the box class. Okay, so we have already seen how to use methods inside the class in the in the first unit. Okay, in the first unit we have done plenty of programs where we have seen, we have used many methods. We first started with the main method, which must be there, okay, in your program. Apart from the main method, we have also used many user defined methods. Yes, so you all remember, you all know how to use methods inside a class. Okay, so we will directly go and look at one example for a better understanding. Okay, so since here we are talking about the box class, so we will use the method inside the box class itself. Okay, so here we have two classes. One is the box2 class and one is the box demo2 class. Okay, in the box2 class we have these data members with height, depth, and we have a method. Okay, we have a method. You all know what a method is. A method is a code, it is a function which will be performing some task. Okay, just let me show you one example. Wait, oh sorry, I have created it. If I used any method here. Okay. Oh, I opened the class file. Am I using any method other than main? No. Okay, this is a perfect example. So here we have already gone through this program. This program was to calculate the areas of rectangle, square, circle, triangle using user-defined functions. So you have already used functions inside classes. We will not do anything new now. Okay, so if you see, we had a class area function. So inside that class, apart from using the main function, we also had many other functions. For example, we had one function to calculate the area of the rectangle. So this was one function. Yes. Then this was another function for area of a circle. This was for area of square. And this was for area of triangle. So you have been anyways using methods inside classes. But now we will see how we will be using objects, methods together. Okay, in one program. Or how will objects communicate with the methods. Okay, so this is one program actually. So as I said, this is one box, two class. Here I have some data members and a method. Okay, member function. We call functions as method in Java. Okay, or you can also refer to them as member functions. Because why member? Because whether it is data member or member functions, because data and functions are both members of a class. So either we call them as data members or data members and member functions, or we call them as variables and methods. Okay, so here, or indirectly, or more specifically, instance variables. Okay, so these are the instance variables, and this is a method of class box2. So this method has been designed to perform the volume of a box, as you can make out from the definition. Followed by this class, we have another class box demo2, where we have the main function. So this will be the starting point. So this class will be the starting point of execution. Okay, so we have the main function here. Inside the main function, now as you see, we will perform everything inside the main function. Okay, so the main control, the main functions will be actually performed here. So from the main function, we are to call this box2 class. Okay, so as you all know by now, that if you are referring to variables or methods belonging to a separate class, then you have to create objects of that class. So Now, because we are to calculate the volume of the box, for that we must be able to first read or input values to each of these three data members or variables, and then we must be able to access this function, because this function will do the volume calculation thing. Okay, and these members, okay, all these members belongs to the class box2. Okay, and since we are inside box demo 2, so we are to access them, and how we will access them? By creating objects of that class. So here likewise we have created objects. One is my box1 and the other is my box2. Okay, so we have two objects here. Now, so basically in this example we will be calculating the volume for two boxes, for two box objects. Okay, so that is why I have created two objects here for the box1. Okay, see, since as I said, width, height, depth cannot be accessed directly, but it can be done only with the help of objects. So for, I am doing this for the box1 okay, for object number 1, okay, which is my box1. So for my box1, I will be reading values for width, height, depth. So this is how we will be accessing these variables from this class. Okay, this statement, using these statements. So we are done reading the values for box number 1. For box number 2, we will do the same thing. We will be assigning, accessing them and assigning values. Then what do we do is, see, we are simply making function calls here. We are simply calling the functions. Okay, so since our function is defined in some other class, so we are to access that function. Okay, now how will we access that? Just like this, just by using the object for that particular class. So for box 1, okay, this is my box1 dot volume. Okay, so on on execution of this statement, automatically the control will be transferred here. Okay, and based on the values given, the volume will be calculated. Okay, once the calculation part is done, okay, once the function is done executing, the control will come back to the next statement of the main function. Okay, in the next statement again we have a function call for the second object. Again there will be a function call, so again you go back. Now the volume will be calculated for the second box. Again you come back, and since there's nothing more to execute, okay, no more statements, so our program will terminate. Okay, so far if you look at this example, what did we see? Everything belonged to the same class, so we did not have to create objects, and that is why we use the static keyword, because Java requires creation of objects. Java is all about classes and objects. Since we are using the same class, okay, we are using the same class for all functions, we need not create objects. There is no need for creating objects. And since we are not creating objects, that is why we have used the static keyword. Okay, and all the, if you remember this program, as you can see, all the separate functions that have been designed to calculate areas, okay, all these four functions were being called from the main function itself directly. We were not, if you can see, this is a function calling statement, area R. So this was for calling the area of rectangle. Okay, so these are the function calls. So, and if you can see, we have not used any object to access these functions. We have directly accessed the functions, because all these functions belongs to the same class. So if functions belongs to a same class, one can call the other directly without needing to create objects. There will be no need for objects. Here we cannot do that, because they are two separate classes, and two classes will communicate only with the help of objects. So if I want this class to communicate with this class, I need an object that will serve the purpose. Okay, that is why I have created object of this class inside this class. Okay, to refer, to access to all the members belonging to this class, whether they are the variables or whether they are the methods. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, we come to another program. This is the same program actually. I just minimize it. Okay. I just reduced the code section. Here this is simply to calculate the area of a rectangle. Okay, so here it is the same function program. Okay, from here I copy pasted it and I just reduced the number of functions. I have only used one function, that is to calculate the area of the rectangle only. Okay, so now even in this case you can see I have two classes, one is area1 and one is area function1. Okay, so in area1 I have the properties of rectangle, that is length and width, and then I have a display function which will help me calculate the area and display the result obtained. Okay, so just like the previous example, just as in the previous example we calculated the volume, here we will be calculating the area. And here we have the same things. Okay, here we are giving user input. Okay, because I wanted, because all this while we have been giving direct inputs, there was no we did not add user input. So here we have I have given user inputs, that is why I have used a scanner class. Okay, so it is the same thing. So using scanner class functions next double, you can input the values to length and width, but not directly. Okay, to access length and width you need to have object of this class. Okay, so that is why I have created one object here for area1 class, which is obj, and using this object I will be accessing this variables length and width, and then I will be assigning values to them using the scanner class functions. Is that fine? It is the same thing. And then after, once I'm done reading the values for length and width, then I will make a function call to the display function. Okay, so when this will be executed, this will be called, it will be executed and the result will be displayed. Okay, control will come back to the main function, and since there's nothing left to execute, therefore the program terminates. I think it is clear again.
Yes. Ma'am, the file name should be area function 1.java.
Okay, now here we will learn to return values from objects. Okay, so we will directly now look at one example. Okay, the same example. You see, in the previous example we were not returning anything. This was void type. Okay, so whatever the function performed, everything was displayed inside the function itself. Okay, everything was displayed by the function. Now we will be returning values. Okay, the function will do something, it will return the result back to the main function, and main function will display the result. This you have used in C. The same thing can be used even in here. Okay, so it is the same program. Okay, I'm just changing the names of the classes. Okay, because for every class you write, one .class file gets generated in the same folder where you have saved your programs. Okay, so there will be duplicacy. Okay, so that is why I have renamed all the classes. Okay, now you see, so for this class I have width, height, depth, and one function volume that will be calculating the volume of the box, and at the same time it will be returning the volume. So one thing that you must remember is, whenever you are returning something, okay, whenever you are using a return statement inside a function, your return type, okay, your return type must match with this type of the result that will be generated. Okay, so here what are you returning? Width, height, and depth all are of double type. Yes, so the result will also be of double type. So whatever will be the result, whatever will be the type of the result you obtain, okay, the return type of the function must be that. Is it fine? Else there will be a mismatch, there will be an error. Okay, so return type, actually when we say return type of a function, we do not call this as data type. Functions do not have data type, functions have return type. That means the type of result that the function will return, and we are returning double type of data from this function. So this is double type. Is that fine? And when you will be returning the value from this function, so ultimately what are we returning? We are returning a double type of value. Now that value needs to be stored somewhere. That value will be passed on back to the main function. True. But the main function should store the result somewhere. Yes. So in case you want to store the result in some variable, okay, that variable must also be of the same type as the return type. So these two are the things that you must remember using functions, okay, that returns values. First is the return type of the function must match with the result that is being returned by the function, and the value after being returned to the main function or any other function, okay. One function can be called by any other function. It is not necessarily the, you know, it does not mean only the main function is to call this. There can be any other function which can call this function, and that function is called the calling function. Okay, in our example we have the main as the calling function and this is the called function. Okay, so whichever calling function you are using, okay, that calling function will call this and the result will be returned back to the calling function. Now if the calling function wishes to store the result in some variable, that variable must also have the same data type as that of the return type. So we have, what have we done? We have returned the volume. We have stored the volume obtained in VOL variable. Okay. So this variable also has got the same data type. So here what are we doing is we are simply creating two objects, and for each of the objects we will be finding the volume. Same thing we have done here. Simply, you know, we are returning values and we will be displaying the values in the main function itself. Okay, so for that, when this statement will be executed, okay, first the right side of the expression will be resolved. And what do we have in the right side? We have a function call. So when this part will be executed, there will be a transfer of control to the main, to the called function. Okay, then it will perform its task and it will return us the volume of box 1. Now once we get the volume of the box 1, that needs to be stored somewhere. So here we have stored it in volume, in VOL variable. Okay, and then we have displayed it here. Again the same thing has been done for this also. Is that fine? Here we have used a variable to store the result of the to store the result that has been returned by the function. You can also directly display it here, okay, without using, to make your function, to make your main function more efficient. See, whenever we design a program, we must always keep in mind about the efficiency. You are learning data structures, you have learned about algorithms, you have learned about complexity and efficiency. Yes, it is always, you know, preferable, it is always preferable to keep your lines of code minimized. It is always the best idea to have less number of instructions in your program, to, in order to, you know, increase the efficiency of your program. Okay, so here if you do not, you know, simply without simply using another variable to store the result, what you can do is you can directly do the function call from here. Okay,